hotel. Slept like an absolute king. That's, I guess, what you'd expect from a place like that. There it is. But I'm much more interested in all of this. Might do some wakeboarding this morning as well. Let's see what happens.
Alright guys, so what I want to have a look at today real quick is shares of Bank of America. If you guys have been watching my vlog here for the past few months, you know I've been very cautious on financial stocks, particularly banking stocks, because I still think from a structural perspective, there's very little sense for these stocks to rally more sustainably. However, very importantly, as active investors and traders, I have got to respect the price action when it continues to go in one direction despite me not thinking it's going to fit into the current picture. So let's have a look at shares of Bank of America, and I think there might be a trade setting up here. So very simple. We're going to walk through this. You can see this is the multi-year weekly chart. I'm going to draw a very simple line for perspective. Keep in mind when you do technical analysis, it's really more about getting some sort of risk parameters and a little bit of perspective to manage risk around, and not so much, you know, technical analysis shouldn't be something you use exclusively just to figure out levels where to buy and sell. It's about the confluence of stuff coming together. So very simply, you can see I draw a very simple line of resistance. We can extend this one even back to these previous highs here in 2011. And you can see we continue to be below this bigger picture area of what used to be support may now become resistance. So that's a big picture, and I don't really see this having changed yet. However, if we zoom a little bit closer, and that's what's important about doing multi-time frame analysis that I always talk about to Clubhouse members about in my students on a daily basis. Look at this a little more closely on the daily chart. Now let me get rid of a couple of moving averages. We're just going to stay with the 200-day moving average, which is that red line that you can see here on the chart. So you can see we've now rejected that 200-day moving average. Once we broke below it again here last December, we've now rejected it 3 times already this year in April, in May, and so far again in July. So far. Now, if we look at this a little bit closer, though, you can see that actually the retracement from down here in February up to the, let's call it April highs, and back down here was about 61.8%. That's a simple Fibonacci retracement line. It's very simple. I don't want to make this very complicated, but if we take it down here, we move it back up here, okay, so that's here, and you can see going down on a weekly closing basis. Actually, this is a daily chart. If you were to see this on a weekly basis, on a weekly chart, you'd see that we actually ended up holding that 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. So you can see here the weekly bar never closed below. So if we now sort of do an extension of that, it's called a Fibonacci extension. Very, very simple. We simply take a measurement tool, measure this from the top, from the bottom down up here, and you can see about, I like to use an extension of about 23.6 to 25%. Let me do this again. This somehow disappeared. So we click there, and we get to about 23 to 25% on the upside. Gets us to about $16 to $16.50 of potential upside target. The more people remain bearish on the financials, including Bank of America, the more I think the odds are there for us to see an extension move toward about 16.50, which is about an 8 to 10% move from once we get a breakout around above 1470 or so. So I don't think this trade has triggered just yet, but it's something that I have to respect from a price action perspective. And that's what I'm hoping that you will get out of this video at the very least, that even if you have a bigger picture view, and even if that view persists, the price action in the near to immediate term can go completely against that view. So I want to get long Bank of America if it breaks above, let's call it 1470 at least, on a daily closing basis, and I think there the odds of a squeeze towards $16 or so, $16.50, are pretty good. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this makes sense.